Good evening. Duduzane Zuma has told the Zondo Commission of Inquiry into State Capture that he's not corrupt and that he's never taken money from anyone and never will. But the son of former President Jacob Zuma had to admit today that he was given a chance to respond to then Public Protector Thuli Madonsela's findings against him before she made them public. Yesterday, Zuma Jr. claimed he wasn't given a chance to respond before her report was published. He's also said he was merely caught up in a political storm after responding to questions about a meeting in which former Deputy Finance Minister Mcebisi Jonas says he was allegedly offered 600 million rand bribe to become the Minister of Finance. Manqoba Mchunu was in the commission for us once again. Manqoba, good evening to you. Right, Duduzane Zuma, he says he's not corrupt, he's never taken money, he never will. How does he explain his position in all of this?
Well, of course, Duduzane maintains that he was not involved in any way in the bribe that Mcebisi Jonas allegedly, made the allegation of. He says that, the meeting that he had gone to was simply to address a rumor on a blackmail, and it was not by any chance on a bribe. He's denied that there was ever a talk of a bribe. And he says that the meeting was between him and Fana Hlongwane and Mcebisi Jonas, and it lasted for 45 minutes. So this allegation of a bribe, he was not there. And of course, he's denied other things as well. The fact that, there was ever any offers that were made that he met Mxolisi Tukwana and Ace Makhashule at the house. So he's made quite a number of denials, removing himself from literally some of those meetings or some of those accusations that have been leveled. He says, of course, that he's an innocent bystander in all of this. He believes that he's caught in a political storm, and I think the inference here being because his father was then the president at the time, and that the Guptas were close to the president. So he says all of this is just a political storm that he's caught in, and he says there have been consequences, unfortunately, which are unfortunate politically, legally, and in terms of perceptions. And he says that he's an innocent man, and he maintains that he is not corrupt. Let's take a listen, Stephen.
Is purely on the court of public opinion, which is driven by a narrative that stems from media reports and allegations from wherever they come from. Now, I'm looked at as a criminal. I'm looked at as this face of corruption, this guy that's plundered trillions out of this country, which is not the case, by the way. So I'd just like to say to the public out there, I'm not corrupt. I'm not taking any money from anybody. I never have. And I never will. How they take it, that's not for me to decide. But I just want to make that clear. So when you see me walking around, just know that it's not me.
There's also, Manqoba, been this apparent contradiction. So when there was the meeting, there was so basically, essentially, there was this finding by the then Public Protector Advocate Thuli Madonsela. She, of course, recommended the Zondo Commission. That's why we're here. And there seemed to be a contradiction yesterday. He said that he wasn't given a chance to respond. She then went public and said she actually did give him a chance to respond. How was that addressed today?
Of course, you'll recall that he had said that, when he heard some of the allegations of the 600 million, he said that he was never, ever given a chance to answer to that. And he believes that it was unfair because he was not given the chance. But of course, the Public Protector issuing a statement, not issuing a statement as such, but speaking to SABC earlier on, and other media actually saying that he was lying about this and insisting that he had been given ample time to respond as early as September 2016 to actually respond to these allegations, and that the investigators had gone looking for him on numerous occasions, even giving him a subpoena. And he did concede to that, funny Stephen. During his testimony, he says that, he did concede when asked, did they make contact with you? He says, yes, they did. Did you get a subpoena? Yes, they did. But he says, of course, he feels because when the report came out at the end, he had not given his version, and therefore the whole process was not fair. Let's take a listen to what he said, Stephen.
I've been mentioned in all sorts of lights. I didn't have an opportunity to give my version of events, and the basis of that report is what this whole State Capture Commission is about. I'm sitting here having to answer all sorts of allegations that could have been answered at that point.
Did the Public Protector make available to you the versions of other persons such as Mr. Jonas, perhaps?
No.
For you to respond to it?
I did not receive any notices. I didn't receive any transcripts. That was everything I've seen has been post the finalizing of a report.
Good.
Okay, and then there's the arrest of Duduzane Zuma at OR Tambo International Airport. It was quite a strange circumstance in connection with all of this. What does he say about that?
Well, of course, he's still, a bit upset about the arrest. He says, of course, he plans to take legal action against, those who have been involved in that. He feels pretty much aggrieved by it because he says he was arrested on the basis of that claim that was made by Mcebisi Jonas, of course, which he denies. And he says he was never given a chance to answer to it. So he still feels aggrieved and wants to take action, legal action that is against that, because you recall that he was arrested in July last year at the OR Tambo International Airport when he came to attend the funeral of his younger brother. And he says he was astonished by this because he believes that, of course, he was being targeted for what Mcebisi Jonas had said. And equally, the charge that he was charged with was contravening, dealing with corruption, contravening the combating and prevention of corruption, which was later withdrawn, Stephen, because of the State Capture Commission. So he still believes that he was targeted and that he was arrested just because of maybe this so-called political issue that is raised. And of course, he says he wants to take it further and take legal action against it.
Manqoba, thanks very much indeed for coming in. Do appreciate it. Manqoba Mchunu, of course, our reporter at the Zondo Commission today. More to come here at SABC News. You can follow it all. Go and watch it again, sabcnews.com.